All right, so 8-1, I mean not 8-1, 8-2, very similarly set up to as 8-1 was. This is a distribution of the sample proportion. Suppose that a random sample of size n is obtained from a population individual, in which each individual either does or does not have a certain characteristic. The sample proportion is given by what we call p hat, and that would be x over n. And so x will be the number of individuals in the sample with that specified characteristic, and the sample proportion is a statistic that estimates the population proportion. So notice here, regular p is going to be our population proportion, and then p hat will be our sample proportion. So those numbers, those terms will make more sense once you put numbers to it. But I'll give you guys a chance to copy.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
What's the upside down V over the P?
It's all hat. It's just a hat symbol. They call it p hat. Sometimes it's called a caret. But if I have this symbol, that's x hat. If I had a y with that, that's y hat. That's just how they notate it. They just say hat.
And that's on the calculator?
That's just symbolism. That's not, now that is on the calculator. Now when you use it on a calculator, that raises it. If I do this to on the calculator, that's x squared. That's the same thing as x squared. But in this case, it's not. This is just notation. This is not any type of calculation emphasis. This is just
Okay.
because when we go back to mathematics, as far as variables, there's only 26 letters that we can use. So I can't keep using p because this p is being used here. So to talk about another type of p, you would call it p hat.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, computing a sample proportion. So just an example of making sure we understand what we mean by, how we would find p hat. That's that sample proportion that we're talking about. The Harris poll conducted a survey of 1,200 adult Americans who vacationed during the summer and asked whether the individuals plan to work while on summer vacation. Of those surveyed, 552, excuse me, indicated that they plan to work on vacation. Find the sample proportion of individuals surveyed who plan to work while on summer vacation. All right. So the number of people that were surveyed is n. The number of people that actually said they planned to work on summer vacation is 552. So to find a sample proportion, all you do is take that 552 and place it over the number of people surveyed, which is similar to what we've done in the past. So you want to know the proportion of people out of the survey who said they plan to work on summer vacation. You would take the 552, place it over 1,200, and that's 0.46. So the Harris poll estimates that 0.46 or 46% of adult Americans who vacation during the summer plan to work while on vacation.
Which question on 8.2 is this? The first one?
Let's see. Yeah, example 1 on 381.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we good with this one?
Yep.
All right. So here, sampling distribution of p hat. So for a simple random sample of size n with population proportion of p, the shape of the sampling distribution of p hat is approximately normally provided. Now remember, it is normal. If we have normal distribution, that means we can use our z-scores. So that's why I pointed out right here. And so provided that this relationship holds true, that n times p times 1 minus p is greater than or equal to 10. If that holds true, that means our distribution is normally distributed. All right. Also, what will hold true is that for the mean of our sampling distribution, that will be equal to the mean of p hat, or the mean of the population proportion. Let me say it again. The mean of the sampling distribution would be equal to the population proportion. And then we'll be able to calculate the standard deviation of the sampling distribution by this relationship right here. The square root of p times 1 minus p over n.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
when do you use the square root?
Right here for this one. So that's the square root of p times 1 minus p over n.
And P is what?
P is your population proportion. So
Okay.
it'll probably make more sense once we actually put words on it.
Okay.
But whatever your population proportion is, that's going to be your P.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right, so let's look at this next example. It says, according to the National Center for Health Statistics, 15% of all Americans have hearing trouble. So going back to your question, sir, in this one, 15% of all Americans, that would be our P, our population proportion. All right. In a random sample of 120 Americans, what is the probability that 12% have hearing trouble? And then B, suppose that a random sample of 120 Americans who regularly listen to music during using headphones result in 26 having hearing trouble. What might you conclude? So I'll let you guys write that, and then we'll look at solving. All right. Are we good to go?
Yep.
All right. Let's go to the next one then. So this is 75. All right. So first thing we want to establish is the sampling distribution approximately normal. So N is 120. Remember that was the number of people surveyed. Go back here. Yeah. So that was the number of people sampled. So 120 was N. And then, as I mentioned, P is your population proportion. That was 15%. So you convert that to 0.15. So then you use this relationship right here. N times P times 1 minus P. So that's 120 times 0.15 times 1 minus 0.15. Multiply those together, you get 15.3, and that is greater than 10. And so since that's greater than 10, looking at this statement right here, since that's greater than 10, the sampling distribution is approximately normal. That means Z-scores can be used.
Did you say Z scores?
Yeah, man, I know. I was waiting for you to hear what I said.
Lord.
All right. So looking at A and going back to that question, you guys can see it, but I can't. It says in a random sample of 120 or 120 Americans, what is the probability that at most 12% have hearing trouble? All right. So the first thing we do is recognize that our our sampling distribution proportion, P hat, is going to be 12. They gave it to us. They said 12%, is having hearing trouble. 12% have that characteristic. And then P hat is going to be our mean. And then how we calculate our standard deviation is by doing the square root of P times 1 minus P over 120, or over N, which is 120. So before we go any further, make sure we're okay. So we have P hat, the mean of P hat, standard deviation of P hat, sampling distribution.
Can you just give me an F right now?
Not over one section, sir. I won't do that to you.
Oh, okay.
And you know, the more practice you get in there, I remember this is your first time seeing it, so don't shortchange yourself. So what we'll do.
I still feel shortchanged
So what we'll do is that we'll use these three pieces that we found in our z-score relationship when we do p hat minus the mean divided by our standard deviation. So that's 0.12 minus 0.15 divided by 0.032596. And that gives us the z-score of negative 0.92.
Now, is there a certain calculator we can use for this one?
No, I kind of think it would be making it more difficult than what it would have to be, really, by using another calculator.
Yeah.
All right. Because see, once you get here, you know, it's not about calculation anymore. You got to go to that z-score chart. Once you get your z.
Yeah, that chart.
All right. So once you go to the chart, you will get out 1788.1788. All right. And remember that gives us less than. And the question asks at most. And at most means, you know, less than. So in other words, the 12% is at most at this marker. So you want everything else that's less than that. So it's just another way of saying less than. At least would mean greater than. So the probability that a random sample of 120 Americans result in at most 12% having hearing trouble is going to be at 0.1788. All right. Make sure we're good before we go to the next one. All right. So let's go to the next one. Remember there was a B part, part B. Okay, there we go. All right, so for B, oh, I lost my page. So for B, they said suppose that a random sample of 120 Americans who regularly listen to music using headphones results in 26 having hearing trouble. What would you conclude, or what might you conclude? So X is 26. 26 people have this characteristic of hearing trouble. So if you want to know the sampling proportion or the sample proportion, you take X and place it over in, that was that first thing that we did. So that's X over N, 26 over 120. That gives us 0.217 as our sampling proportion. So remember before they gave us the 12%, this time they gave us, when I said almost first one, so in A they gave us the 12% for our sampling proportion or sample proportion. Here they gave us 26 out of the 120. So to get the proportion, you have to divide it out. And the mean and the standard deviation are the same. The only thing that changed was this 0.217 in the problem.
Where did the 0.15 come in at?
From the beginning of the problem when they said that 15% of Americans
Right.
experience
Okay.
hearing loss. Yep. So it's the same number. All right. So put that in the z-score formula. And that'll give us that 2.06. Go to the zero score. Go to the z-score chart, and that gives us 0.9803. And always the chart value that we get is less than. So let's look at analyzing what we have. It says, since the question asks what might you conclude, we should explore greater than to see how unusual it is. So in order to explore greater than, we subtract it from 1. And the proportion is less than 5%. So that means it is an unusual occurrence. So the results obtained are unusual. I think that's all we had to do for that one. Trying to see if that was in that one. Okay, I got it. The next set of notes actually come to the conclusion. Okay, I thought it was another statement about it. I'll move to the next page once you guys are finished. All right, next page, we good?
Yep.
All right, let me see if I can find it now. Or did I lose it already? Oh, okay. Not that page, that's not the next page.
Hey, look, it's Santa Claus.
Say again?
I say, hey, look, it's Santa Claus.
Too funny. So to close out this problem, we can make one or two conclusions. The population proportion of Americans with hearing trouble who regularly listen to music using headphones is 0.15, and we just happen to randomly select a higher proportion that's having hearing trouble. So in other words, that first statement saying, looking at what we had, we saw that what we had was unusual. So it's saying that what could have been the case is that you chose a sample that just so happened to have a high population or a high proportion of people that had hearing trouble, or the population proportion of Americans with hearing trouble who regularly listen to music using headphones is more than 15%. So, and the second one is more reasonable. So it's possible that when you look at headphones or when you use headphones regularly, it increases your chance of getting hearing trouble. But that would be, so this is something that you would use as a catalyst to study something else, or to direct you on your studies of hearing loss. So then you would start to explore that option more, because of your findings. All right. Questions on anything I've written? Any questions? Some questions, once again, may not come until you actually start working on it. But the process is what has been presented to you today, and how you will go about solving them.
My only question, can we not have Z-scores on tests?
Well, like I said, when I make that final, I'll keep you in mind.
I concur.
I think if you guys had your way, you wouldn't have anything on the test. Just write your name, get an A. Right?
Just a word test.
Just a word
Yes,
test.
word test. Please. I failed this 4 times.
Oh man, well, we're gonna make sure it's not going to be another one.
Buy a wedding dress.
Yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Say what, ma'am?
No, we're gonna make sure he pays because he gotta pay for a wedding.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Half of the money he gonna get.
I love you, ma'am.
I need to, buddy. My friend, she's active duty and she's taking stats down in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, all their homework is word. They're not doing any calculations.
Oh wow.
I'm
Yeah.
like, maybe my teacher give us word problems.
We'll see, man. But I'm held accountable to what they put in this book, and they tell me to teach you guys. So.
Nobody told you to do this. You doing it strictly because you doing it because you know you had some old people in this class.
And
but seriously, like her class mostly asks for like definitions of I guess like like is it unusual? Is it a usual occurrence and stuff? I mean, it's just mostly word problems. I'm like, girl, you got it easy.
the paper that he's writing on is like constitutional paper.
Is it made out of hemp?
It looks like it's 100 years old.
Well, maybe
All right, I'll shut up.
Maybe I have insight to some special paper that makes this math just seeps into your thought process, and and next thing you know, you'll be speaking it and dreaming about it and all that good stuff. So with that being said, that's it for 8.2. That's it for 8.2. They only give a few examples, and then everything else just follow that same pattern. So try the stuff out. See if you get stuck. If you want to meet outside of class, shoot me that email so we can do that. Just like I mentioned to one of your classmates previously. So from this point, like I said, I had to make this run and get out of class. But you guys have a great weekend. Be safe, and I will see you on Tuesday. Remember, that's our last week until we hit that Thanksgiving break. So we try to end it out good.
Why is this class ending on December 11th? All the other classes ending on like the 18th.
No, I was in on the 18th. Yep. Why you say December 11th?
I believe I saw it on the syllabus or on my last one.
Oh, if it's in my math lab, it might be there just because I hadn't changed the date. Because in the beginning,
You better change it to the 18th. I need every extra day I can get.
I'll think about it.
I need every extra day I can get.
All right, I'll make sure I do that.
That's what really had me sweating. I'm like, dang, his class ending a whole week early.
Oh no. I think, like I said, I don't think they had the date set when I made the shell. So yep.
Okay.
I'll
All right.
change
Well,
that
have a
for
good
you.
weekend. Stay dry. I'm gonna go to sleep. Good night.
All right, y'all take it easy. Everybody take care.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you. Have a good one.